Welcome back. It is the Press Box. We're live from the Kampala Serena Hotel and proudly powered by Guinness. Now, over the weekend, the Guinness five-a-side night football officially kicked off down in Lugogo at the Forest Mall. So many football fans came through, and we had 8 teams that qualified to the next round. Of course, the tournament does continue on to Fort Portal before it continues to Mbale as well. And on the 7th of December, we'll have the real finale here in Kampala. So feel free, in case you're down in Fort Portal or you're down in Mbale, all you have to do is look for 7 different friends of yours. One should be female. Do register and get into the Guinness five-a-side night football challenge. It's fantastic. It's played at night, the darkness, have you watched it? Oh, man, you need to watch it. It's fantastic. So if you're down in Fort Portal or in Mbale, check out for those details coming your way. Match fixing has been one of the biggest problems in Ugandan football. On the Press Box tonight, we have the audio of a top Ugandan referee asking for a bribe ahead of a University Football League fixture. FUFA has suspended him, but we also ask what FUFA has done since the last probe to make sure they can stamp match fixing out of Ugandan football. Also, we have a friend in Nairobi and a friend in Accra. We shall be speaking to them on the show tonight. But that aside, the man himself in here, in white, Hassan Waswa Mawanda. Good evening and welcome to the show, my friend.
Good evening, how are you?
Before I jump into your debate, I want to start off with Maxwell here, because when we concluded from a production meeting that it was Waswa coming on the show tonight, he was very excited. And he told me, I know him more than you guys. So please tell me,
well,
how much do you know this man?
Not him per se, but I know his parents and you guys don't.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Mark,
No, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Nalongo, he will tell you Nalongo knows me who. Nalongo. Hassan's mother, Betty Nanos, Nalongo, was a player with Bank of Uganda Netball Club as well as the national team.
Yes.
She was a shooter and one of our true greats. And she came from a sporting family, a great sporting family, because his uncles, who have also since passed on, are some of the best footballers Uganda has ever had. Wow. I don't know if you've heard of names like Godfrey Chisitu. Have you heard of Wilson Nsobia? Have you heard of Fred Sekasi? You guys should have heard of these guys. These are some of the best players Uganda has ever had.
Wow.
Yes.
And they played some of their best football in the 70s, but also played well into the 80s. And so did his dad. Now, that's his mom's side. Those guys were greats, football greats. And even his grandfather, the father of his mom, and those guys I talk about, the Chisitus and Sovias, Sebagala, was a national team player long before our time.
Okay.
But I've heard of him because he gave birth to a very big sporting family. Now, his dad on the other side, Hassan Biruma, was, I don't know, who is the best super sub you've ever heard of in world football?
It's got to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
His dad was the Ole.
When I think about it.
His dad was the Ole of Ugandan football. Perhaps still up to date, the most famous sub in Ugandan football. Because every time he came on, virtually, he scored. Hassan Biruma. Now, the reason he wasn't a starter back then is, for example, he's a guy who played both as a striker and as a winger. Later in his career, he actually dropped into midfield where this man plays.
Okay.
Because his very last game, at least the one I know, was that 1985 Cup final. KCC versus Express. The one Express 1-3-1, he played in midfield. But he was ending his career. Earlier, he had been a striker, but KCC in the 70s when his father joined, KCC had a very strong striker called Christopher Dongo. So his dad could only come off the bench. Already on the right wing, somebody occupied that. I think Setamo. Then when Dongo left, Davis Kaboga Bomba, I'm sure you've heard of these guys.
Yes.
Davis Kaboga the Bomba joined as the number 9. So his dad was still coming off the bench because of Davis Kamoga. And of the national team, even if they called him, there was Davis Kamoga, but there was also Isa Sekatawa or Sokatabu or whatever. So this man's dad used to come off the bench, but he was so good that every time he came off the bench, he made an impact. Yeah, and he's a legend in KCCA football. As his mom is in Bank of Uganda and the whole of netball.
Okay.
And his entire family. So don't be surprised that the man has had such a career.
And that's my big point, though. I mean, Waswa, I'm listening to this Wikipedia about your family, and I'm thinking it was quite easy. I mean, quite obvious for you to get into sport. You were born into a sporting family. You did not have options. Was that the start for you?
Not really, because I used to go and watch my dad play at Lugogo, and I was very inspired because I told myself, I need to be like my father. So that drove me to where I am right now. But eventually, he used to tell me, you know what, keep the books and football together, because eventually football is a short career. You never know, anything can happen. So that was the best advice he gave me.
And by the way, his sisters play volleyball.
Oh, really?
It's a sports family.
Yes, so it's a whole family
It's
thing
genetic.
now.
It's a genes thing. It's
so-
in the DNA.
So then how do you start? Because now I'm very interested in the first few days of you being introduced, at least to the limelight. Let's forget the Cranes first. Let's talk about the school and how you come into club football, because that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
How do you get into Ugandan football? How do you get into a starting 11 in Lugogo, for example?
Okay, I was at Budo SS, and we used to play post-primary games, and I got spotted by Coach Angelo Lonyensi, and by the time he was staying in Naguru, and I was staying in Naguru with him. So he told me, you know what, after school you can come and join KCCA for trials. Maybe you can get a chance, and you know, you can get a call up in the club, in the KCCA football team. So eventually, I tried my luck. After school, I went to KCCA, and by that time, Coach Jackson Mayanja was the head coach, and he was very impressed because he told me, you know, you're very young, you're talented, and your father was a KCCA player. So I'm going to give you a chance. Take it with both hands, and I think that was my breakthrough to the national Ugandan league. Yeah.
I think I should bring in Asha now. She's overexcited to have you on the show, by the way. Did I tell you that? Go on, Asha. Drama Duncans, can we please have this picture? Asha needs this picture. Just take this
SMH.
for Instagram.
Wow. No, Hassan, just to ask you, did you play any other game, or was it football for you and you were not thinking about anything else?
No, it was football for me, all the way.
And why was that? Again, back to your dad, or?
Definitely, because this is something that I was loving from my childhood, and you know, after school, I used to go home and you know, play these fruits called I don't know the name in English. It's called kabaka and jagala. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So after school, we used to play with my brothers and
Back in Jagala.
yeah, that one. Kabaka and jagala. That one. So we used to have fun, and Dad used to tell me, you know what? Okay, I can see you love football, but keep the books first. Yeah.
Look, we have a big interview with you because I want us to talk about Johnny McKinstry, new head coach.
Okay.
I want us to talk about your competition in the Cranes midfield,
Okay.
how you went into defense. I want us to talk about your idols, but I'll give Mark the next question because I'm sure he wants to talk about the early days of him joining KCCA, the amount of talent we had then that he had to break in. That's a special talent from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for me, it's not too much of a question. As a compliment, like I said, when you first asked me in the first segment of the show, and the midfielders I was mentioning, he gets the opportunity to be measured along the lines of the legends because of his longevity. Because all the guys I talked about played for more than a decade. I talked about George Nsimbe, who has probably coached him somewhere. I don't know if he has coached him. And Paul Nkata. These are guys who played in the role he played as holding midfielders. Different styles, but holding midfield. And they lasted that long. Moses Ndaula I talked about. And then I talked about Edgar Watson. Because they're guys where I want to give him the credit is that they're guys who came in there and played and didn't last as long. And yet they had the talent. I mean, people like, say, you know the group of the generation of Lawrence Musoke, KCC?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Lawrence Musoke and the Wilson guy, the late Wilson guy, and Mole, who is a coach there. That crop of players. The person who played in that role was Lawrence Musoke. I thought that we had unearthed somebody who was going to walk the footsteps of the guys I've mentioned, the Nkatas and Simbes, on talent alone. He didn't last that long.
Yeah.
Left the country after he'd only, showed us glimpses of what he could do. And then there are guys before him. There had been people like, say, there was, I don't know if you know him, Simon Chobe at Express and the late Friday Senyonjo. He knows about these ones I'm talking about. Again, guys who were very good but didn't last that long. Edgar Watson had lasted long.
Yeah.
And then after that, then he and Tony Maweje have been the epitome of longevity in the generation just past.
Yes.
But again, even in there's so many guys who have come and gone, not lasted long. And that's where I give him credit for that.
We shall come back to Tony Maweje very shortly because he has recorded for us a special video for you, by the way.
Okay.
And I'm sure you haven't seen the video.
No, not yet.
It's supposed to be a big surprise for you. I shall play that video because he talks about your career.
Awesome.
But before Asha comes in, let me give you a quick background why we have Tony Maweje on the show tonight. I was very lucky to be in Gabon at the Africa Cup of Nations. And the Cranes had to fly from Port Gentil to OEM for the game against Mali.
Andrew, it's Paul Gentil.
Pola.
Yes, a boat.
Paul Gentil.
Paul Gentil.
He's not French,
It's French.
Yeah.
but he's English.
Yeah, if it doesn't have a vowel at the end, then that consonant is silent. That's the rule of French.
Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
realized that I'm the host of the show.
She's walking on eggshells. Huh? She better tread carefully.
Yeah, so we're moving from Paul Gentil
Yeah.
to OEM, and
Yeah.
I was very lucky to be on a Crane's chartered flight. And then I sat right next to Tony Maweje. And one of the questions I asked him is, "Oh, when are you retiring, my friend?"
Yeah,
Because you played in the Cranes for a very long while.
yeah.
But as the flight went on, I asked him about discipline, how he has maintained this time in the Cranes at the top. And one of the names that came up was this man. He said, "You need to ask me and Hassan Waswa those kind of questions."
Yes.
Young kids have come and gone. We displaced a couple of top officials, and we've stayed in the game for so long.
Yeah.
So it's a big debate we should be having
Okay.
and talking about as well. But Asha, please, now that I've given myself some light,
Well, my question
English.
is,
in English.
Mark, I should put myself. Why are you attacking me?
You've had your moment with French. Now let's get back to English.
English.
Yeah, my question to Hassan is, he played in the top tier one season and then was called up to the national setup. That's huge, you know, for a young player that's just coming in. Also, you're playing for KCCA,
Yeah.
and then you're getting called up to the Uganda Crane setup. I believe that was Sekafa 2007, and
Yeah.
Zaba was the coach, yeah?
Yeah.
What did that mean for you at that moment?
You know, it was a great feeling to get called up to the national team in my first season in the Premier League. And good enough, it was, you know, when Zaba came, he said, I want Coach Jackson Mayanja to be my assistant. So I think that is when I got the opportunity to come to the national team, because Coach Jackson was the coach at KCC. Then he told Zaba, okay, you know what, I have a young talent. I think this boy is going to be the next, how do you call it, the next generation of Ugandan football. So I think that is when I got the opportunity to get to the national team.
And by the time, you know, someone like Jackson Mayanja recommends you, that's
Absolutely.
huge.
Yeah,
I think just enlighten some of our young viewers.
yeah.
What generation of midfielders did you find? Who are those guys who are playing in Uganda's midfield by the time you arrived?
Sure. That was, I think I found Noah Babadi. I found the late Johnson Bagole, Patrick Ochan. I found Hassan Bajope, but that time he was about to retire. I found Kabagambe, the Nathan Mutenzas. It was crazy.
You played with Wagaruka.
Yes, Wagaluka, and was also getting done by the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's been a big battle since then. You know what? Before asking the next question, let's quickly cross over to Mr. Tony Maweje, another man you played with in that midfield for such a long while. Because we asked him, what would his comment be about Hassan Waswa? Here he is.
Good evening, everyone watching NTV Place Box. This is Tony Maweje. It's a pleasure for me to be here to speak about Hassan Waswa, a player I've played with in the national team for quite some time. To me, I call him the solid man. His ability to play in defense at the same time play in midfield comfortably absolutely makes him an exceptional player. He's an exceptional player, and he's a leader on the team. So that one is also a plus to the team. I think any coach would love to have such a player on the team. So playing alongside Hassan Waswa, for me, it was a joy and fun. Having somebody to cover you when you lose possession of the ball, it's so easy for him to cover spaces. I mean, he's such a wonderful player. Talking about the good midfielders I've played with in the national team, I can mention Kyle Dawucho, Faluk Mia, Chizito Luwaga, Mike Selumaga, Mike Yazila, a lot of them. Uganda is blessed with a couple of good talented midfielders, and Uganda is so blessed to have such players. NTV, the Place Box, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you. And Hassan Waswa, big up on yourself. Good evening, everyone watching in.
Man, you should have been looking at Hassan Waswa's face. He was blushing.
And yet the man is dark skinned, so he's like purple kind of, you know?
That face of when you take a flower, flowers to...
He's embarrassed about a peer singing his praises like that. Yeah.
You know, when you get talked about like that from a great player like Tony Maweje. You know, I have to, you know, blush and smile and
It's
enjoy
okay.
the
Let me
moment.
give you
know.
let me give you tissue.
What kind of player was Maweji though? What kind of person is he? How important was he to you as well?
Maweje is an exceptional player. This is a player that is always disciplined, always early on training. You know, the coach used to tell us, you know, when we're in camp, you know, training is at 8. Maweje can wake us up like 7:30. Hey guys, let's go. You know, it's time. And Maweje is this kind of player that was consistent. He used to score goals, and we used to call him Lampard of the national team. You know, he can score anytime, anywhere. So I think it is a pleasure, and it was a great honor to play with him. And I wish him good luck wherever he is, and let him keep doing what he's been doing best.
Yeah, but now it's your turn to actually tell the viewers as well as the kids coming up and all what it takes to stay in the game that long, because we are talking discipline here and all, but we want you to break it down. What is it that you as a person has done? What is it that Maweji has done that other players have not done or need to do to stay in the game for a long time, to stay in shape, and to stay competitive?
Okay. I think to the younger generation, I think my time when I started playing football, I loved the game, because you know, when you love something, you know, you have to keep focus on it and do what you do best. So the reason why I stayed longer and the reason why I'm still on the national team, it's all about staying focused, work hard, and love what you do. So this was an opportunity that got me to where I am, because it is a business that I knew that I could earn from it. And the moment I knew that football is a good paying job, so I had to stay focused and do what is good for my future.
And to be honest, you've earned some money from it. To be honest, you really have made some money from this.
Yes, so there are two things there then that you need to tell us about.
Yeah.
One is the experiences about being all over the place.
Yeah.
Because somebody could describe you as a football journeyman, but in the nicest sense.
Okay.
You know, sometimes that can be derogatory.
Yeah,
if
true,
you're
true.
being called a journeyman.
True.
But in your case, I'm saying in the nicest sense because you've actually been to several places. How many clubs is it now? 10? I don't know. How many,
He's been to
how many,
to
how many clubs have you
Ethiopia,
done? Yeah. So tell
South
us,
Africa,
what's
Lebanon.
that experience like? The adaptation periods, the travel, the families, the food. I mean,
The culture, the language.
How does one do that? What you've done? Because culture, language, all that stuff. Yeah.
You know, I'm a person who loves challenges, and I don't want to stay in a place whereby, you know, I get too comfortable in a place, because I need challenges. So I need to get to a place, you know, get to know the cultures, get to know the things that are in that place, and you know, you have to move on to the next chapter. So me traveling a lot, I always want to experience the style of play, the quality of football in certain countries, and you know, it always drives me to move on to the next step. So this is something that drives me forward, and I always love to get new opportunities and new clubs and new challenges, so that I can get to know what is good for me and for my future.
Unfortunately, Asha Komugisha only had one coach in her basketball career. But for you, Waswa, I mean, you're talking about Laszlo Zaba.
Oh, yeah.
How many coaches have we had since then? We've had so many coaches.
Yeah.
Each coach that comes still maintains you in the team, keeps you in the team.
Yeah.
And my question that I really have always wanted as professionals out there is, every new coach is a new start for you. Is that always the feeling in the camp? You have to prove yourself all over again?
No, you know, football is it is all about keeping the discipline, and you know, when the new coach comes in, he always wants to play his style of play, and this is something that us footballers you know, have to learn and have to adapt quickly, because you know, when a coach comes in, he has to bring in his own tactics, his own style of play. So I'm this kind of person that I love to listen. I love to you know, to get to the point whereby I need to do what he wants. So that is why most of the coaches that come in, you know, they always, okay, no, I want this guy, you know, he works for me, and I always give 120% or 200%, because you know, I love my country, whereby, you know, sometimes the fans out there, maybe they can say a lot of words, but eventually, you know, this is something that always drives me. You know, when someone tells you, okay, you know, Hassan, you guys, you played poorly today, we have to go back and, you know, sit down and talk to each other. You know what? Okay, what is the way forward, so that we know we can prove them wrong, that we're a better side. So that is what we always do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about the national team, the Uganda Cranes, and you say that because that's what I wanted to ask you. Because when you sit in the stands and you're covering this game, you see Hassan literally throwing his body on that pitch. Like, you're that one player I know who leaves everything on the pitch, and if you lose the game, then that's it. The other team perhaps was the better team. But just to ask you, from a leadership point of view, right now you're the assistant captain of the Uganda Cranes and assistant to Dennis Onyango. What does it take, when you play against big sides? For example, you're playing against Egypt. You have Mohamed Salah on the other side. The man just scored against Arsenal and he's here at Nambole. What do you tell your fellow players, young players, maybe someone who's making a debut?
Okay. When we're going to have a big game with such countries, we always sit down as players. We tell each other, guys, listen, these guys, they're in the big leagues, top leagues, and us, we are the unknowns, we're the underdogs. Let's prove these guys wrong that we're the better side, and this is what keeps on driving us to the next to the next chapter. And eventually, when we play against Mohamed Salah, when we play against the likes of
Cedric Bakambu,
Sadio
Mane,
those guys,
Bolassi,
we have to show them that you guys, we are better than these guys. Or when you play against Mohamed Salah, that means you are capable of beating them. So I think this is what drives us to focus and work hard and get results from them.
And Hassan, I'll stick to that. So you drive you're in the bus, you're in the team bus, you're getting into Nambole, about 2 hours to the game. There's thousands of people on the road walking to Nambole. And let me go back to the Comoros game. That game when we actually need to win this game and qualify for the AFCON. It's been 39 years. What's going through your mind in that moment? And
when you see such crowd in Nambole, and this is a do or die game because we are taken long without qualifying, and when you look at the people who are coming to watch you play, so I think you have to ask yourself, is it possible for us to lose this game in Nambole, or is it the time for us to qualify to the Nations Cup? So I think we had. We're always having that focus. That is why we always put on headsets, because we don't want to lose concentration. When you lose concentration, you're completely out of the game. So that is why.
As the fans consider that swag.
No.
Andrew, for you as a non-player, as someone who has never played at the top level, don't be taking
Andrew, somebody is standing by to quickly give us on what you're saying out there. About Hassan Waswa.
I'll tell you what, Andrew, I love this kind of debate is because people contribute so much and people really love their local football. And I'll just go through some comments. Parker says, man has to be Stephen Bengo. Till today, I still feel the lad's magic. Guy had a touch, and Livingstone Babazi as well was a big blast. Two great gifted players Uganda had. Albert Ahabwe says, there was a golden generation of those: Jackson Mayanja, Wilson Jamil Chambade, Joseph Mutiaba, Edgar Watson, James Odoch, Hakim Magumba, Philip Sozi, Idi Batambuze, Ibrahim Buembo, Kefa Kisala. I could go on and on. Then the Congolese maestros, Hassan Bajope and Bana Zidane. Now, Hans Atenye again says, it's very true, Serumaga never fulfilled his potential, but he had a massive talent. You remember, greetings to Hassan Waswa, he says, he seems to be a humble guy. No wonder he has had a lengthy career at the top. Josiah Bugeza, Tony Maweje always played box to box impeccably. Thomas says Noah Kasule Babadi and Hassan Bajope, they pocketed Apia and Essien in their time. Uganda Cranes lineups, that's his handle. He says Saddam Juma had the most potential and talent, but the guy couldn't stay fit. Plus bad luck. Mark Lukwago says, unfortunately, I don't have any outstanding midfielder to single out for my generation, that's 2000 to date, due to the defensive style of play we have displayed over the years. I see Okello becoming the big deal though. Maybe two more, Komaket, Simon Peter, Tony Maweje. I loved his deep role he played in the six, and also his shooting ability whenever he got an opportunity in the 18-yard box. Lastly, Menya Abamagidu, you say Timothy Batabaire is one of the most talented guys I've ever seen, but dirty politics in Uganda's football at the time failed such talents. They're coming in thick and fast. Keep them coming. NTV Press Box is the hashtag.
Well, very good. Thank you very much, Joel, and thank you very much for more reactions coming up online as well. We're live from the Kampala Serena Hotel and proudly powered by Guinness. This is the table of men, my friend. Here's a big one for you because we talk about you as a midfielder now. Someone said Timothy Batabaire in there, who we know played for defense mainly most of the time for the Uganda Cranes. Your versatility, switching from the midfield, you've had your critics, you know this, you've had your critics. You've had folks who have said, Hassan Waswa, Makatiga Fame, Murunji, Then you stuck in the team. Then they kept quiet. Then you were switched from the midfield to defense. And I think it's why you played most of these games, including the AFCON recently. How big is that change, or is it just natural for you and then talent?
You know, when you're the national team, it is all about staying focused. So when the coach brings you to a position, you have to play it. You don't have to have excuses. You know, I don't play this position. Go for it. So the first time I played defense, that is when our former captain Ibo Sekaja, he got suspended, and Coach Bobby told me, you know what, Hassan, I want you to I want to try you in the defense, and I think this is when I started playing defense. And he was like, so you can play midfield and you can play defense exceptionally well. So I told him, this is my job. So I love my job and I can play in where you put me to play.
And just before I come to, I think that's why most coaches will say, you know what, first name on the list, Hassan Waswa, because he's versatile. You know, you can play in defense, can play in midfield. But I'm just going to read a real quick comment from Edmund Matovu on Twitter, who says, just couldn't wait to hear Maxali's list, and I'm already loving it. How old is this guy though?
Give us the yell.
Now the thing is, it's not that I'm too old.
Mark, you're too old.
I'm older than you guys, but it's not that I'm too old. The thing is, I started early.
I think that means you're old.
No, I only started early, watching the game,
but
the Ugandan game, and not only football, Ugandan sport. I don't want to go. This is Hassan Waswa's day, so I'll tell you one day. I'll break it down if I'm the one you're interviewing. I'll tell you how that came about. But I grew up in a sporting neighborhood called Najanankum, and most of the guys there, I'm sure, of my age and older, who are watching now, and laughing because they know how we got in early. In our pre-teens, we're already going to stadiums. We're already going to training grounds. A typical day for me, or a typical holiday of 3 weeks. Coming back from school, in boarding school S1 or S2, because poor mom, working class mom, didn't know where I was half the time because she had to look for the dimes to send me back to school.
And there were no phones.
So I leave Najanankum in the morning. I go either to the training ground in Bugolobi of Coffee or of KCCA at Nachivo, or watch Express at Wembley or at Wankuluku, and then go through Lugogo, watch National Open, boxing and all.
But how are you moving?
The couples are boxing and all that stuff, and we're walking. We're walking mostly, and then end up with the afternoon match in Nachivo before walking back to Najanankum or hitching a free ride on a taxi. This is even pre-teens.
Wow. A long time ago.
Yeah, a very long time ago.
Wow.
So we're doing this from when we were kids growing up, and we did all through my teens and all the way up to university. So I was a fan first, and then a player, and then a fan again, and then a journalist, and then an administrator, and then this. But that's how it was. And not only for me, but for most kids who grew up in neighborhoods like mine at the times we grew up. Me, I talk Najanankum, but other guys were Semulago, others Kawempe, others
Naguru.
And whatever. So that's how it was. So I'm not too old, but I was there I've been there for a long time. For a long time.
Let me first of all tell you something. 39 years later. 39 years later, we have qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations. Let me tell you something, my friend. I was in Nambole. And I'm not an emotional guy, I'm telling you. But tears were coming down. Let me first give you a handshake, my man. What you guys did. 39 years later, tell me, how big an experience was that for you personally, and then the squad? What happened in that dressing room right after?
It was crazy, you know. We told ourselves, you know, guys, we came from very far, and this is a do or die game. And you know, starting from camp, we said, okay, guys, listen, we beat Comoros away, so this is Nambole. It is either we lose or they lose. So we told ourselves, you know what? Let's go out there, give the fans what they've been waiting for over these years, and let's be the heroes for this generation. And this is what drove us, because we wanted to take, you know, that generation away and let the new generation come in. And this is something that we did, and we have to do until we get done.
Hassan, I'll tell you about Gabon. Unfortunately, maybe, or fortunately, I'm not sure. I was seated with Kabura in the
Where on the
in
flight?
the no
Oh.
in
The flight
the
was in business class. She was
With Tony Maweja.
no, in the media tribune.
Okay.
And we were, we arrived for the first game against Ghana.
Yeah.
National anthem. Listen, I don't know if I've ever screamed that loud trying to sing the national anthem. Perhaps I even forgot the words, but it was such an emotional moment, to see Uganda playing at the AFCON, not just for you, by the way, as players, even for us as journalists, because now we were among the top 16 teams on the African continent.
Sure.
As a player, singing that national anthem for the first game, at the AFCON. I'm sure when you were, playing at that Sekafa or even at KCCA, that's what you always dreamt about. But now it came to pass. What were you thinking in that moment? And how can you tell us about your first experience, your first game at the AFCON?
When you're going to have a game and you are representing millions and millions of people back home, and you get to sing that anthem for the whole country and for yourself and for my family, because you're always like, okay, everyone is watching. What am I going to do? Let me give my heart out. Let me give my all. And I know this is something that drives players, and this is something that drives players to come to the national team to sing that anthem for the nation, and to work very hard for them. So it was a pleasure, and it's still a pleasure to represent my country, and it's a good feeling, to be there and hear the Ugandan national anthem being sung on that big stage.
Okay, you see that's a very good thing when you say it, because we've talked about here how proud the national anthem makes us feel when it's being played in front of in international games on global television, and yet we are not involved as players. But it also tells me one thing, because you're one of those guys who every time you pull on the national team shirt, you give 100%, and some people have been known in world football for that for a long time. Because I remember the last one, either this AFCON or the other. Which one was it where you didn't have a club?
It was this one.
No.
The other one.
The other one.
Gabon.
Gabon, yes.
So many people didn't think Waswa should be picked. He didn't have a club at the time, and they thought maybe he's not fit enough and things like that. And then you go out there and turn in those performances. Because it reminds me of the African continent. There are guys like Rigobert's song. It didn't matter whether he'd just scored an own goal for Liverpool or Galatasaray the weekend before. When he came and played for Cameroon,
He started. And it was brilliant.
Always.
Yeah.
There are people like that, even in European football. And I'll give an African example. But even Europe and Latin America have them. But that brings me then to the other bit you talked about, the one I wanted really to ask. So many people will be interested in earnings and in and with what you've done with that money. Because one of the things we have here, which we hope that your generation is breaking, is people having great sporting careers and then having to live hand to mouth, or actually paupers moving, begging around, and us doing all sorts of fundraising for former greats. It breaks our hearts, and it is something that we've, the previous generation before his, all the guys we've lost when they couldn't afford medical bills, especially when they were ailing. Majid Mossi, Godfrey Katerega, Philip Omondi, those are some of the greatest players Uganda has ever had. But every sport has those. And now we come to this generation which has earned a little more than those guys, because the sign of the times, games have gone more commercial. What are you doing with your own earnings? Can you briefly tell the people that, you see what, I've made this much money, and this is what I'm doing with it, so that it's sustainable when I quit. And because I know your generation, there are other people, Batabaire or Nyango and all guys who've made some money. Sekaja. Tell us what goes through your minds and how you're planning.
As footballers, I think this is something that we get into, and well knowing that it's a very short career. So the moment you get that money, the moment you sign a contract, always think of, okay, what will happen after my contract? So I'm this kind of person that always sit down with my captain, because Dennis is my very good friend, and he keeps on advising me. So I think my future is a very bright future. We're after football, because I've saved a lot. I have a farm, I have rentals, and this is something that helps me focus. Because even though I may not have a club, but I always know that, okay, I have something that I can get out of football,
Yeah.
even though that I'm not playing. So,
Yes.
so this is something that helped me a lot, and I am grateful to Dennis because he's always giving me that advice. You know, Hassan, listen, get this money, however much money that we earn from the national team, however much money you earn from your club, save. Put something that will get money after football because we have a very short career. So I'm very proud, and I know I have to look after my future.
Dennis hasn't been going through the best days recently. Of course, he lost his beloved father.
Yeah. Now the reason I'm here, and I'm not supposed to be here,
Yeah.
because Dennis was there for me when I lost my father and mother, and I had to fly back from Saudi Arabia to come and be there for him because he's this kind of person that has always been there for me, and I had to come and support him. I had to come and pay my respect to him, to send his father off, and right now because I left him in Busia, I'm traveling back on Thursday because I told him, you know what, I did my part, and I love Dennis as a friend, as a brother, and I had to be there for him. So Dennis is someone that advises and encourages. So this was a very soft moment and emotional moment for him, and I had to be there for him.
Well, here on the press box, we once again send our heartfelt condolences to Dennis Onyango and the family.
Yeah.
Of course, we are always here for you, my friend.
Watenga as well.
Yeah, and Watenga as well.
Yeah,
Watenga
Isma.
also lost his
Isma
father.
Watenga,
Yeah, Isma lost his father.
We are taking some phone calls tonight. In case you have a quick question for Hassan Waswa, or you want to contribute to our big topic tonight, who do you consider your favorite midfielder in the Uganda Cranes jersey? I don't know how old you are again, I should say. So I don't know who you've watched and who you haven't watched, but the number should be running on your screen very shortly at 0787 662 973. Let me do that one more time. 0787 662 973. You wanted to ask him something super specific before I talk about the other AFCON.
Okay. Does FUFA, does the Cranes setup have financial literacy classes, and that the clubs you've played in, professional and local, have there been these financial literacy classes? Because when I ask about the money issue, your advice seemed to come from Onyango, big brother.
Yeah.
But is there? Do you see the efforts in the football setups you have to help this current generation of footballers actually save up on the money they make, and they're not going to save up on it, but invest in it wisely and things like that? Because these are things which were lacking back then when I played, and then back before me when the guys I've just talked about played. So are these setups there, or is it still informal?
No, the setups are there because great thanks to I don't know, let me call him Mr. Moses Magogo, because now he's not the president at the moment. He has done a lot in our generation, whereby he's always advising us, you know what, listen, and he brings in people from the finances, and they sit us down, guys, listen, this money, you need to look after your future. It's not about coming to the national team thinking of earning $1,000, $2,000. No, it is all about saving. Keep on saving, and the future will be bright for you. So we always have advisors from all over to come in the national team to advise us.
So you say $2,000?
No, it was an example.
We know it's small.
Yes, he spoke about brotherhood, and that's something I would like to ask him when he talks about Dennis Onyango. How does that friendship or brotherhood help, when you're on the pitch? Because I would like to say that normally when you look at captains world over, it's usually either a goalkeeper or a central defender, or if it's too much, maybe it's a holding midfielder, so that person can organize the team. That brotherhood, how important is it for the Uganda Cranes setup?
Now me and Dennis, let me start with me and Dennis, because there is a time we fought with Dennis in Gabon. He was screaming at me, and he was telling me, hey, listen, you make a mistake, I'm going to, I don't know, I'll destroy you, because this is
Up the back
so if I get information from him,
television language.
if I get information from Dennis in the goals, so I need to give the information to the front players. So guys, listen, I'm being crucified here, so it's either he crucifies me or I crucify you as well. So it is a communication and a bond that helps us.
I want us to talk about Egypt very shortly, but let's take some phone calls. We have some folks that want to ask you a couple of questions or react to that big poll that we have online tonight. It's 0787 662 973. Do we have someone online? Good evening. Hello and welcome to the press box. Hello. Good evening. Hello? Okay, we seem to have lost that one. We shall come back to him very shortly. As we take more calls, you went to Gabon and then went to Egypt.
Yeah.
You became campaigners at the AFCON. You guys are arrogant now. You feel we can beat anyone, which is a very good thing for any national side.
Yeah.
Is there a newfound level of confidence in the Uganda Cranes that we can go and battle with anyone at the table of men?
Yeah, true. Every Nations Cup that we that you come to and play, you have to put a goal. You have to set a goal and get to know that, okay, this AFCON, why did we stop? So the next AFCON we need to go further. So this is always our target as the national team, and I hopefully the new generation that will come in, they need to know, okay, listen, the generation that the Hassan Waswas, the Dennis set up, we need to follow it. We need to be regulars at the Nations Cup. So us as the national team, well, we always set goals and tell ourselves, you know what, today we got done in the group stages. The next stage we need to get to the last 16.
Yes.
Then the other nations that will come on. We need to go to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals. And we know we have talent. We have awesome talent, and this is the generation that can do anything.
Okay. We have some callers online now. Before I come to Asha very shortly, give us that call and ask Mr. Mawanda any question you honestly want to ask him. Good evening. And welcome.
Good evening.
Welcome to the press box, my friend. What's your name?
Jeffrey is my name.
Tell me.
Yeah, I just want to ask you a question. So, Hassan Waswa, exactly I want to understand that Uganda is a destination for foreign coaches to come and prove their profile. And what exactly happened to our latest coach who left us in Egypt? And what is the way forward for the next coach who has now taken over from him?
Okay.
The feedback on that.
I don't think I'm going to allow Mawanda to answer that question because it's probably political. I'm sure Sebastian Desabre made his own decision without telling the players.
Yeah,
He told
true.
them later.
True.
Guy, comrade, you cannot ask those kind of questions. Let me
No,
take
but-
two more calls. Good evening. Hello. Good evening. I think we seem to have lost that one as well. We shall try and get those calls on air. Actually, you have something to ask specific?
Yes, during the AFCON, when Uganda Cranes defeated, actually I should say surprise stand, whatever it is, DR Congo. After that game, I remember asking Yannick Bolassi what he thought about the game, and he said, I don't know why you guys are looking at us and thinking that we killed someone. Uganda is the top side on the African continent. I said, okay. I met this category, top. I said, okay, this is very good. No, but really, over at least the last 5 years, from Mitchell's days, Sebastian Desabre, and now Jonathan McKinstry, Uganda has built a solid team. We've earned respect, not just at home at Nambole, but also away from home. We've gotten some very important away wins there.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the secret? And how can we continue from here? Especially with the AFCON qualifiers coming up against Burkina Faso in Ouagadougou.
Yeah, it is a bond, and when a team is bonding together, and you're always focused, and for us we love challenges. Uganda loves challenges, and when we're at the AFCON, the recent AFCON, we said, guys, listen, we're playing Congo. Congo is the team that will come undermining us, and let's prove them wrong. We beat them so that they get to know that, okay, listen, we're not here to play games, we're here to work, and we're here to prove a point that we're a strong team on the continent. So I think that is what is always driving us. When we play those big teams, we always tend to give them a hard run for their money, and they always have a difficult time against us.
Let me take a phone call. Okay. We're trying to get someone who is clear and asking questions that are not overly political on the show tonight. Good evening and welcome to the press box.
Yes, good evening.
I'm very good, my brother. What's your name?
My name is Mike from calling from Chalwaja in Namgongo.
Tell me, Waswa is here.
Now, what I wanted to ask you is, of course, we've heard that and I've seen you both you playing for Ghana Cranes for some time. Hello?
Yes, you can hear you.
Yes, I'm saying I've seen you play for Ghana Cranes for a long time, and seeing you right there, you seem like a humble man and a determined man to work hard and hard every other time. But my question is, there are times when people have commented about you that you make blunders in the defense and cause goals to go through. How do you take that kind of comment when you hear that? Firstly, how do you handle it?
Thank you.
Not like Granit Xhaka. Eh?
Waswa is a much better player.
Yeah, I was waiting for that question. You know, I've been criticized a lot, and you know, this is something that drives me. You know, when someone wakes up early in the morning and says, you know, Hassan, you're a very bad player. You made a mistake. We got scored, and I'm like, okay, what will I do that will make him love me more than hurting me more? So this is me. I always get back home. You know, yes, get into to those criticism, and I listen. You know, I always listen, but I don't react. The only thing I have to do, go back to training. You know, focus and do what is needed to be done at the right time, at the right moment, and I perfect it well. Then they love me back.
But the traveling too has helped you, because all these countries you're in, opposing fans will have insults at you in different languages. You have all this criticism from around the world.
Yeah, you know, Andrew, I've been to harsh countries. I've been to Iraq. You know, I've been to Egypt. You know, these fans can roast you. You know, and eventually it is all about staying focused and, you know, being strong, because you know, this is football. You know, someone pays money to watch you. So the moment you make a mistake, you'll be angry, you'll be furious, and you always think in your head, okay, what will I do next after this?
I must say, Hassan, that this current generation, you know, with social media and a lot of traditional media having a lot of space for sports, makes you, you know, a celebrity. Like if you walk in town, everyone knows, this is Hassan Waswa. How then do you stay humble and, you know, continue playing, but also at the high level?
I wouldn't stay humble if I was this popular.
Of course, that's why you're not a football player.
For the credits for 10 years.
You know, God knows how to distribute these things. Eh? He knows who he gives talent.
You know, Asha, you know when you stay a long time in the game, you always have to stay humble, because the fans that come to watch you, you have to give them that respect. So this is the kind of thing that I do. I always do to stay humble wherever I go, because these are the people that make me who I am, and these are the people that will put you down. So it's either you stay humble. So look at what happened to Uganda was playing against is it Kenya when David got substituted?
Yes, yeah.
You know, David was a darling all over, but eventually that slight moment, everyone started hating him. So it is all about staying.
Kenya, it was Guinea.
No, it wasn't Kenya.
When he threw shut down.
Yeah.
When it was Guinea.
Guinea, I think.
Yeah, Guinea. Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I know where I grew up. I know where I grew up from, and I'm a very humble person. I can associate with anyone, anywhere, any place. So this is what is driving me forward, and this is something that makes me to be who I am today.
Mark, we have one final question for him before we move on.
Yeah, okay. The final question for me, actually, kind of sounds final. When does this all stop? I mean, we're talking about your longevity and all.
Yeah.
Does it have a timeline? Are you saying that 2029, I'm done, guys?
No.
My next game is the last one. I mean, when does this all end? How far are you willing to push this?
I've been getting those questions all over, but you know, when I came into football, no one told me, you know what, start football.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course those questions have to come in, but the time will come, and I'll be letting you guys know any time from now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here is the final. I have two final questions for you. One is, we have a new head coach.
Yeah.
Jonathan McKinstry. He's coming now. He started well.
Yeah.
For the Cranes, of course. Again, like you said, you've faced so many coaches over the years.
Yeah.
I don't know what you make of him so far, or what you think our challenges moving forward are.
Coach Jonathan is a very awesome coach. He's so friendly. He's so understanding, and he's this kind of coach that calls you on a daily to get to know what you are doing in your club. Because you know when you perform well in your club, you know it is easier for him to get to know what is happening in your club, your fitness, your injuries, and this is something good that for the coaches to do. So I'm grateful for what he's doing, and you know, when you stay close to the players and get to know what they're doing, it's easier for you to get to know who will come in, who will be available. So it is all about staying focused, and we are grateful, and it is us to stay focused, fit, and he will see what we'll do, because he knows what he wants and he knows which players to call up, so it is up to him to decide.
If I cross over Joel Kamadi, controversial one for you. You've played football for a very long while, clearly.
Yeah.
Any 2 or 3 favorite midfielders, whether you played against him, whether you played with him, whether
in Uganda?
you watched him? Yeah, with Uganda.
Okay. The best midfielders that I played with is Babadi.
Those guys were awesome, eh?
Babadi was awesome, and he was a workaholic. He was a box-to-box midfielder, and he could do anything with the ball. So he's one of the greatest midfielders I've ever played with. And the late Bagoli Johnson.
Okay.
He was perfect. That's Musoga man. He had a classic touch. And he was a very funny guy. You know, let his soul rest in peace wherever he is, and hopefully we shall meet soon. But those are the great midfielders I've ever played with.
Okay.
Hassan Waswa, man, thank you very, very much for coming.
You're welcome.
To the show, even sparing some time and making it to the show.
You're welcome.
It's such a big pleasure. We hope to watch you in the next Cranes game.
We will.
And,
if I get called up.
Yeah, so I'm going to cross over Joel Kamadi now.
Okay.
You stay there because the cameraman will come and want a picture with you. And Joel Kamadi tells us what is happening.